Yeah, so it's been a long while since I made one of these, and as someone who still very much enjoys a good survival game, I thought it'd be fun to search for the best one. And it still is, but I've been caught up with so many other videos and games that a survival game hasn't caught my attention until Myst. I've watched a few number of playthroughs and watched this guy's base get rated by Bandits, and the craziest thing was it all looked competent. So come get lost into the Myst with me as we review this one. Myst Survival came out in August of 2018 and originally was made by one person, now expanding to a smaller group of people. It was created a small stir in the survival scene, with updates as soon as December 17th, and before that November. It seems as long as the Myst continues down this path, it has a great future ahead of it. So, what is Myst? Myst Survival is an open-world single-player game where you are set in a post-apocalyptic world where a virus outbreak has torn it. You can come in contact with bandits, other friendly survivals, infected creatures, and wildlife. It's up to you to build up defenses and prepare yourself for the long adventure ahead of you. Just like the first episode, we're going to break this game down into categories. And by the way, if you haven't seen the first episode of the Pro Survival game, link will be up there. So, let's go ahead and jump into the Myst. So, how does the inventory work in this game? Well, unfortunately, it's about as basic as it can get. It doesn't matter how big or small the item is, it's going to take up one item slot. Some stuff stacks, which normally you can, guess what's going to stack. Stuff like metal components, ammo, and small items like screws, while weapons, car pieces like tires, and large pieces of wood don't stack. Unlike the forest, large trees that you cut down can just be thrown into your backpack and moved around with ease. You can even upgrade your inventory by grabbing more backpacks, which doesn't really make sense logically. I mean, do you just hold multiple backpacks around while playing through, or just wrap them around each other? I know this is nitpicky, but this is the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. Wish the inventory was a little bit more in-depth, but it's passable. It works for what it needs to do, and at least won't fail on you at any point. When you die, you'll drop most of your gear, and any gear left in your inventory that can deteriorate will by a decent amount. All your basic tools are here, and they work as you would guess. As core, it's not very unique, but it gets the job done, so it gets a solid 3 out of 5 from me. So, how fun is it to survive in this game? What are the day-to-day goals, while what's the long-term goal for survival? And it's honestly a lot of fun. I feel like each time I either wake up or start a new day, it's safe out to be exploring. I have a checklist on my mind the whole time, which I really enjoy, and you can even see a better example of that in my best survival experience of 2018 video. I'll link up there. Basically, securing your day-to-day safety can take anywhere up to a few minutes to most of the day. You can run into a neighboring house for canned food or hunt down a chicken, which could take all day if you can't catch it. Obviously, one is smarter than the other, but as time goes on, each house near you will, soon be empty of supplies as you raided them all. Luckily, both of my bases I have built throughout playing this game have been very close to water, so building a water purifier and water storage was never an issue. The only problem I had was with bandages. I couldn't really find any, and making alcohol is an issue in itself, but I could have been looking in all the wrong places. The crafting is very easy to get into, and most crafting stations make what you think they would. You can have some pretty unique structures, like a chicken coop for instance, and some real basic ones like a water storage tank. Like I said before, your items do have a deterioration rate, and it honestly goes pretty fast, so having spare tools and weapons is pretty important. The game isn't hardcore in terms of revives. I mean, you could just delete your save when you die, but as of right now, you just respawn in whatever base you selected with some of your inventory gone and some of your tools in worse condition than before. I would love to see them add a no respawn mode, but again, you could just delete your own save and start from the beginning. With the constant thought of day-to-day survival, in the long term, this game keeps you on your toes, and I love that. It gets a solid 4.5 out of 5 from me in this category. So, like I said earlier, this is a single-player game, so there's no PvP, and I'm honestly okay with that. I would love to see a co-op at some point, but for now, I am more than happy with this. I don't think we have enough co-op-oriented survival games, or at least PvE-oriented survival games, and this might be the best one that's in first person at least. The monsters work a lot like zombies, but are technically vampires, which adds this element where they can't be in the sun. The closest I could compare them to is the monsters from I Am Legend, if you've seen that. So obviously during the night it's not very safe to be out and about, but randomly during the day a mist will form and the creatures will start to roam around freely. The night you can expect, the mist not so much. I have been out and about as far away from my own base as I could, then bam, the random house that I was looting is now the only safe place I have for the next in-game couple of hours. These moments are the peak of this game in my opinion. I have never been in such a panic while going through on a loot run with almost no gear so I can bring back as much as I can and be stranded with a limited amount of food and water, hoping the mist doesn't end in the middle of the night. So, I can make my way home after the mist moves on. Since we talked about the mist a little bit, let's go more about the vampires that exist in the mist. Like I said, they're pretty much zombies. Other than the no light rule, they do almost everything else the same. They hit pretty hard and are much more dangerous when you run into a pack of them, but one of them isn't too much of an issue. They're a one-hit headshot kill with a gun like the pistol, and they take a few whacks from an axe to kill. They move in kind of a janky, sporadic way. By themselves, they can be taken down real easy, but in packs they get real hard to take care of. So let's talk about the bandits. They work pretty alright. They can break into your base and steal your gear while you sleep if they know where your base is. The few run-ins I have had with them normally go either one way or the other. I get the jump on them and kill them in a pretty easy way, or I'm not paying attention and drive my car right into a few of them, getting gunned down. They work like you think they would and can kill you pretty easily if you aren't paying attention. They also move in kind of a janky way, but I'll get more on that later. Next is the game's wildlife. The bears are the fucking monsters in this game, more than the vampires, honestly. If you hear them coming, it's probably already too late. They hit hard and kill you in just about 3 to 4 hits. The loud stomp of the bears still haunt me in this game. Completely searching a forest before freely running through it is probably your best bet. The last animal you can encounter is the chicken. Pretty easy to kill, but if you build a chicken coop, they can become a continuous food source instead of a quick meal. So after all of this, what does this PvE get? From me, it's a solid 4.5 out of 5. This is how you make PvE game good. You have more than one enemy type and have a constant fear that the mist could happen at any time, meaning you're never safe. The one problem is that occasionally enemies get stuck on objects like trees or cars, and bandits are a bit oblivious. They take a second to see you, and when they do, it takes a second for them to pull a trigger. You could say the second is the bandit realizing that they might be taking a human life unjustly. Maybe we can just talk it out. He can join the group or something, but I doubt it. It still works better than any other NPC bands I have seen, so I still give them major credit in this category. The map is big enough to explore to take you a few in-game days to feel comfortable to reach out and explore the city parts and the other forests that you might encounter, but in the end it is one single map for a survival game. There's a few different starting areas all in or around sort of the same area. A lot of the map is blocked off by these huge tunnels that sort of make you feel like you were forced in this area. There's a military base that I've yet to explore because I never feel like I am ready to. There are various locations to explore, like a giant farm. There's a nice little lake, small little lake in the bottom left corner of the map where there's a lot of bases to build around that I do enjoy building my base around very often. The only problem I have with this whole base building technique is that they don't give you enough options, I feel like, spread out into, I guess, the bigger city area. The city area is all by itself in the top right corner area of the map, but there is no base building potential over there. All the bases that you can build are sort of on the left side of the map, sort of more towards the farm region. There's some down, like I said, towards that little lake down at the bottom. I don't like being forced to told where I can build my base and not. I guess, again, if you are playing for that more realistic delete your save after you die type thing, you can build your base pretty much wherever. It lets you build structures and stuff like that wherever you want, so you're not really limited to these areas. But if you are playing with the respawn and you don't mind dying and going to get your gear, you are pretty much forced into one of these locations. I will also talk about cars in this area because the cars help you get around the map. Building a car isn't the easiest thing. You have to find all the spare parts to sort of build one car, 4 tires, spark plugs, an engine, keep it up on gas. The hardest thing it took me to find was the spark plugs, which is weird because you think it'd be hard to find an engine, but there are a bunch of different car mechanic shops around the map that you can find that normally have an engine in them. Spark plugs you kind of have to just find in a broken down car. Really hard to find. I found literally 2 in my whole playthrough. Getting a car though is a 100% must do if you want to explore the entire map. It made my life so much easier having a car to get around and sort of explore areas of the map that I probably would have never gotten to if I didn't have a car. They make loot runs so much easier, and I really do think a big portion of the map is taken up by this farmland. I think if they made that a little bit smaller and maybe put a smaller city over there as well, it'd be a little bit more interesting to explore that area. There's a kind of single street where a couple of houses branch off on. I don't remember going. I was there for a little bit. It was a very small and odd area. I wasn't a big fan of it. The only area I have yet to explore is the military base and the big town all the way at the top right, because I just frankly couldn't make it there without getting killed by bandits or the mist coming in and ruining my experience. So yeah, like I said, again, I wish there was base possibilities up in that sort of one-way street. They're all kind of brought down to the bottom left. If you move them out and expand them more, give the players a little bit more freedom to do what they want, I think that would be a great idea. Overall, with only having one map, I can't blame them. The game is still kind of new, but I have to give this category a 3 out of 5 for me. So, adding up for the totals from all the different categories, the Mist survival game is a 15 out of 20 on my unofficial The Best Survival Game rank point system, I guess. I don't know what to call it. The final is 15 out of 20. Do I recommend this game? If you are someone who enjoys the solo survival experience, if you are someone who doesn't really enjoy PvP like me, and if you're someone who's looking for a game that is in first person mode, that is a survival game that is good and not focused on the PvE, and it's more focused on PvE, 100% I recommend this game to you. Again, the game is still rather new. I don't fault them for that. I do think with more updates and another map, a better inventory system, that this game could be the best survival game for PvE scenarios. If it ever goes on online, I don't know how well it would suit out. The game feels like it's a PvE game at its roots. Even the player not having a player model, if you die, sometimes you'll kind of fall backwards and see that you are just a floating set of hands. There are no mirrors, no way to see your player model, so the player model isn't even there. You are just a floating set of hands, which is a little bit weird, but I don't fault them on that because it is a single player experience. This all being said, this is a game that I've been very hesitant to buy for some reason, so I looked online and really didn't see many reviews. I saw one review that was very popular, but other than that, there wasn't a lot of people talking about this game. So if this is the first video you've watched about this game and you're wondering if you should buy it, 100% yes. I do think The Mist is one of the best single player PvE survival games that we have right now. It's fun. The constant threat of a mist sweeping in and sort of putting you in danger when you thought you were safe is something I haven't experienced in a survival game in a long time. Either way, that's going to go ahead and do it for me, guys. This is the end of the second episode of the Perfect Survival Game. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you next time.